Russell, what are you looking at?
There's all these new buildings in the city. I'm
Well-
so confused by it.
When was the last time you were in the city?
I don't really come down to the city much. I have a house in Mississauga, and I stay out that way.
And you have a house, what, L.A. also?
Malibu.
Malibu.
And Vegas.
That must be nice.
I got to be honest, it doesn't suck.
Did you ever think, man, when you started this whole career that you could say those things and even more?
I didn't think I'd be able to say I own a house. Ever. Anywhere. I mean, on my own at least.
So what was the drive, do you think, all these years in the small clubs and working your way around the world? I mean, you've traveled around the world. You've sold out the biggest place, Madison Square Garden, my friend. You did it. And there's a bee that's a big fan of yours, too.
You're about to see some boxing action.
O2 Arena, London. I mean, you've done them all.
I'm lucky, buddy. What am I going to say? None of it's expected. It's still not expected. That's the best part about it. It's not like I do it and go, I'm going to go on tour. I'm going to do this. It's more like I asked my brother, I would go, we got to go back on tour. What do you think we should do? Do you think we can still? And I honestly didn't think I'd be able to do another Canada Center. And, we're almost sold out if it's not already. And it's my 6th time playing it.
Wow. And of course, you're calling this tour, what, Almost Famous. Now, this is the weird part. Almost Famous. You are famous. You're one of the most famous comedians, definitely one of the most famous Canadians around the world, and you're using the term almost famous.
It's sort of an ironic thing where I am famous. And I think it has more to do with the States, where I'm famous in the States, but not as famous as other famous people, yet somehow more successful than other people. So it's kind of a weird position to me. So I'm almost famous.
Well, I would say famous. So what would be happening in this tour? I mean, I know you love to change up the routine.
Always.
So what can we expect this time around? Give us a little example, please.
Well, I mean, now I'm talking about getting older. I'm 44 and I'm a father, and I'm trying to deal with technology and trying to stay on top of that. And I'm from a different generation that, I think I'm from the last generation. You and myself are from the last generation that knows how to talk to women in person.
I shake your hand for that one. Absolutely. And you know what? It's so funny because I actually had a conversation with a dude who was about 25, 26, and I asked him straight up, have you ever just walked up to a woman that you've never met and just, introduce yourself? He said, no, everything's been through Facebook, Twitter, or somebody has to introduce.
Yeah, that's nobody has the skills anymore. And I really pride myself on it. I've even prided myself out of a few women. Am I right, guys? It's fun for me to be able to speak to people. And I'm good at texting too. I can actually text a whole conversation without using words or acronyms. I just use emojis the whole time.
I'm curious though, because of course at the beginning of your show you have DJs who are hyping up the crowd and everything. Mm-hmm. Why don't you spin? Because as we speak, we're going through TIFF, and you were doing some spinning recently in Toronto.
Because when you're out there, you got to be your surprise is you seeing you on stage, and the DJs I have starting from scratch and DJ Spinbed, I mean they're so ridiculously good at what they do that it's kind of the equivalent to them coming up to do stand-up.
I get it, but is it? Do you miss doing it more often? I mean, we don't get a chance to see you do that in Toronto, but from what I understand, man, I mean, you were kicking it big time.
That's my love, I've been doing it 30 years. Stand-up is my 25th year. It's somewhat of a 25th anniversary tour,
Wow. Incredible. Any chance you're going to be doing any more movies or even some TV shows? I mean, from what I understand, Netflix. You were the first person to have a comedy special on Netflix?
I was the first person to do an exclusive Netflix deal.
Wow.
And now I think that's become almost commonplace for a lot of the bigger names out there. So I love being first, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter who's after you or who's better than you, as long as you were first.
So when are you going to get a chance to even write a book? Because that's something you haven't done yet.
Yes, I have.
When? What? Oh, wait a minute. I just got myself caught. You have written a book.
Hey, Pick, you just asked me when am I ever going to get a chance to write a book?
It was a mistake. I forgot. Hey, Rudy Blair can have a every once in a while. So what about a follow-up?
Is that what you meant?
There you go.
Am I right? I was telling my brother that I was thinking about there's a book floating in my head. I haven't figured out the head or tail of it yet, but there's something in there.
Well, do you think you figure maybe it could be something like fatherhood, the way Bill Cosby does this stuff? I mean, I had a chance to speak to him recently,
How
and
was
of course he was really good, but I felt like I was being lectured. So you could probably do something like that on what it's like being a father, for the first time.
Well, no, there's that. I think I just want to. I want to do something more generational, like what generation are we?
We're I can't even remember now.
Were we Generation X?
No, I don't think we were X. Or were we just at the end of it?
not have been because you're old as hell, but.
Don't you feel the love here?
If I didn't like him, I would have said only nice things. Right, Mocha, my friend?
Yeah, we got Mocha waiting over there at the side, who wasn't invited, but somehow he showed up here. Anyways, look, I know you got a busy schedule, but before we go, what advice can you give, whether it be comedians or anybody else who wants to follow their dreams? Because, I mean, you've been able to blaze a path where there were a lot of people who felt or even didn't even understand what you were doing. And you did it, man. You made it right to the top of that stage.
Well, that's because I always say do what what feels natural to you, and don't do it for any other reason but it makes you happy, and the rest of it will fall into place. I never once, it wasn't an end game with me. It was like I'm going to make this much and do that and this. I was just really happy doing what I was doing, and I think that comes out in your work, and when people see that you're happy doing what you do, they support you 100%. There was no ulterior motives, and there was nothing expected, and I didn't feel entitled at any point.
Well, you did it, my friend, and I'm glad I can say I was there from the beginning.
You sure were when you had the long fake hair in your head.
Yeah, well, I got.
Is this really your hair?
It's mine.
You sure, buddy?
Yes, it is.
All right.
I knew you were going to go there at some point.
Hey, you think I'm going to let you slide?
Never.
You're a grown-ass man, Rudy. Cut your damn hair.
No. Thanks, man.